10 random magic cards rated day 167, I think. Yeah, something like that. That's what I've got written down. Let's fingers crossed I'm correct. First card of the day is Quicksilver Gargantuan from Scars of Mirrodin, and only Scars of Mirrodin. This is 7 mana, 5 and 2 blue for a 7/7 shapeshifter. You may have Quicksilver Gargantuan enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it is a 7/7. So 7/7 Llanowar Elves, right? I guess no matter what creature you're copying, this is a good copy of it. If you're copying Darksteel Colossus, like, it sucks. Right? But altogether, neat version of a clone here. 7 mana is a bit much. I think we can all agree. But I think it's neat that you can, like, reanimate it, you can blink it, or whatever. But altogether, I'm just going to throw a 4 at this. I'm a fan of clones. I've never seen a clone I didn't like, which isn't true, but this is on the sort of lower end, I think. I'd just rather pay less for my clone, like 9 times out of 10. Dragonlair Spider, everybody. This originally from Plane Chase 2012. It's a cool-looking spider. And this is 6 mana, 2 red, 2 green for a 5/6 spider with reach. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, put a 1/1 green insect creature token onto the battlefield. This cost 45 cents off the list. I'm buying you. Boy, I've added 2 cards to my buy list the last 2 days. Buy Dragonlair Spider. Now, this being Gruul, I actually think you don't get to put it in all the decks you want to. Right? Which is kind of lame. I don't know how. I've never built a Gruul commander deck or even like a Jund commander deck, which is kind of weird. But, you know, if you are building Jund, Temur, Naya, you know, this is absolutely ridiculous, you know, ability. Whenever anybody casts anything, ever, you get a 1/1. It's crazy, dude. I don't remember ever having seen this. I feel like I have. I feel like I have seen this card with this art, and I'm aware of this name and even this casting cost. But I don't know about this text. I feel like if I've seen this text box before, I would have known. This is nuts. Even at 6 mana, this is nuts. I like how if it gets removed, almost no matter how it got removed, right? If they had to cast a spell to remove it, you get a 1/1. So you get some value off of it. But I imagine that, you know, if no one has the removal spell right away, dude, just as people go about their business, you end up with like 15 power, like really fast. So I like this guy, dude. I will ask the audience, though. I will officially ask the audience, what do you give Dragonlair Spider? Because I feel like I'm going to get a pretty wide range on this one. That said, man, I'm going to rate him pretty high. I think this is a 7. I think this is a 7. A text box. And it's not like it's that expensive, especially in Gruul. You're ramping. You got mana. Come on. This is Commander. Turn 1 Soul Ring. You know, 6 mana on turn 3. It'll be fun. So, yeah, I think this card is actually bananas, man. Really. This card is crazy. Give me a copy of you, dude. But, yeah, I am asking the audience. I want to know what you think about the spider here. A good magic card. Reviving Dose is our 3rd card of the day. This is 3 mana, 2 and a white for an instant. You gain 3 life. You draw a card. Isn't there what is it, Revitalize? Is it Revitalize? Am I getting that card right? But isn't there like a 2 mana instant speed, gain 3, draw a card? I'm pretty sure there is. This is just strictly worse. But I don't know. It's still not that bad. You know, cantrips, it gains life. Decent control card. It's not terrible, but it's also not good. So I'm going to go with a 3.76 on this. 3.76. I don't think it's that bad. I really don't. There are better versions, though. Hey, we hit a basic. I feel it's been a couple of days since we hit a basic. This is originally Tempest art from Mark Poole. I'll give the art a 6. All things considered, though, I do like Wrath as a plane. I like the aesthetic of Wrath. His clouds look good, though, Mark. 6.3, sure. Basics don't count, but if they did, we give them a 5. Bloodvial Purveyor, an underplayed dude. Mostly, you know, there was a lot of competition when this guy was in standard at the 4-drop slot. But this is 2 and 2 black for a 5/6 vampire with Flample. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player creates a blood token. Whenever Bloodvial Purveyor attacks, it gets +1/+0 for each blood token the defending player controls. So that's a pretty big downside. You know, they cast spells that get blood tokens. That's ouch. But, you know, this gets large whenever it actually does get to attack. The downside is if they do have removal spell, they get to kill your guy and get value. So you're not going to feel great about that. But every now and again, someone would drop this against me on the arena when I was low on cards in hand, and it would take over the game. You know, I think that Archfiend of the Dross in Standard is just like better. We don't have this in Standard anymore, but, you know, card to compare to that is in Standard. I think Archfiend is just better than this in most ways. But for a while there, before Archfiend came out, this was an interesting call to make instead of some other calls you could be making. But altogether, it's not amazing. I'm just going to give it a 3 point... I'll go to 3.9. I'll go with that on Purveyor. I like him. You know, it's probably because he's got a giant 5 head and long hair and a beard. So he looks like me if I was skinny. We'll move on to the Cube, which is actually Planar Bridge, is what this really is. You weren't originally printed in Kaladesh Inventions. Stop. Okay, it was just Kaladesh. All right. So this is 226 still. Okay, it's holding some price here. 6 mana for a legendary artifact. You can pay 8 and tap it to search your library for a permanent. Put it on the battlefield, shuffle up. Seems good, right? Seems okay. I won't say every commander deck should play this, but just like every big mana commander deck should probably find like some spot or another for this. There's another one where the text box is just so insane, but you know, 8 mana is probably going to take your whole turn. Even in Commander, people are always telling me, like, Dev doesn't understand how much things cost in Commander. It turns out that, like, 27 mana is the same thing as, like, a 3-drop in Standard. It's not, I know that's not true. It's not, you know, 6 mana to get this on the table, and then 8 mana to activate it is going to take a turn to do the first thing and a turn to do the second thing. And then if you want to activate it again, that'll probably take your turn again, but pretty good turn. Go get whatever you want and throw it on the table is hell of a drug, as they say. So great card, undeniably great card that I'm going to put a 7.1 on. I really am going to do that. No, I'm not. I've talked myself out of it. 6.86. 6.86 for Planar Bridge. I would wager that apart from, you know, activation costs and stuff, which are very important parts of the card, don't get me wrong, just this activated ability is maybe the strongest activated ability ever printed. Go get anything and put it on the table is wild. It seriously is. And I think it's worth the 8 mana. But, you know, I guess the idea is like, are you getting mana value on that? And I would say that you do not have to for this. You can put a 4-drop in play. So long as it's the 4-drop that wins the game, you know, who cares? But we'll move on to Swamp. Good art by Romas here on this Swamp from Portal. I'm a big fan. I'll give the art a 7.7. I like the palette. But here's Swamp again. Here's Swamp again. Art by Pig Hands. I do kind of like the aesthetic on this. Kind of creepy woods. Delicious, man. I'll give this one a 7.7. I like it. Brallin Sky Shark Rider's up next. He's riding Sky Sharks. That's sick. This is Commander 2020. It costs 4 mana, 3 and a red for a 3/3 legendary human shaman that partners with Shabraz the Sky Shark. Of course it does. Whenever you discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Brallin and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Also, pay red and target shark gains trample until end of turn. And it partners with this guy, a 5 mana 3/3 shark bird with flying. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Shabraz and you gain a life. Okay, and you can make a human gain flying till EOT for a white blue hybrid. Okay, so whenever you draw a card, he gets a counter and gain a life. And this guy is whenever you discard a card, he gets a +1/+1 counter and he deals damage to each opponent. I really like this. I like this ability a whole lot. Now, obviously, you're going to be drawing more cards than you're going to be discarding, right? So Shabraz, that's good. He's going to get big. He flies. That's nice. See, you're going to be gaining some life. Cool. I kind of like this in life gain decks to proc your life gain effects because you can do them. You can proc them a lot. If it's whenever you draw a card, you know, Brainstorm procs your Johnny's Primates 3 times. Okay, cool. But I think this is neat. Now, you have to keep drawing cards, right? Or maybe you could do rummaging or looting so that you're discarding, but you're still keeping cards in your hand. I like that idea. But, you know, these effects in red that allow you to discard any number of cards and then draw that many cards, there's a ton of those, right? So all those work with this to just like hit opponent for a bunch of damage. I think this is actually really cool. I think this is super cool. So we're gonna buy another card. Buy Brallin, Sky Shark Rider, and then never partner him. I guess if you partner him though, you get to be Jeskai, and like that's good. But I don't know that you have to be. But blue and white are, especially, well, blue and white, both of them are pretty decent at discarding cards, but red is really good at it. That seems like a super fun commander, dude. I want to try that. I'm going to give him I'm going to give her, sure, man. I'm going to give this a 4.6. It's probably not actually that great, but like that seems like a super fun ability to build a deck around. You know, I like the idea of it. Like Wheel of Fortune. God, come on. Is Wheel of Fortune even discard? Is it even discard? I haven't played against Wheel of Fortune in too long. Wheel of Fortune. I haven't played against Wheel of Fortune since like 1998. Each player discards. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was like shuffle them in or something like that. But yeah, that's a super fun commander. Liliana's Triumph is up next. Maybe the best edict of all time. This is from War of the Spark originally. 2 mana, 1 in a black for an instant. Each opponent sacks a creature. If you control a Liliana Planeswalker, each opponent also discards a card. I feel like we've done this one recently, so I'm not going to do it again here, but I'll restate my claim. Perhaps the best edict ever. Next is Nalathni Dragon. I've been waiting to hit you, dude. So this is from Dragon Con, as you see. You can still get one for less than $5, and I think you should go out and do that. If you don't already own a Nalathni Dragon, it's a really interesting piece of Magic history here. So 4 mana, 2 and 2 red for a 1/1 dragon with flying and banding. You can also fire breathe it, right? So pay a red to get +1/+1 to EOT. If more than 3 red is spent in this manner during this turn, bury dragon at end of turn. So it's a little bit like a Dragon Whelp, except it bans. And I believe Dragon Whelp was like a 2/3. This is just a 1/1. But it's got the same like, oh, if you do too much fire breathing, you die because you're just a baby. But the fun thing about this card is that it's not in a set. It was not available in a set. You had to go to Dragon Con that year to get a copy of this card. But if you did, you automatically got a copy of this card at the door. So it's kind of amazing how many copies of this card there are out there, given how long ago it was, how comparatively fewer people played Magic back then. But Dragon Con was obviously very well attended. I imagine, though, that the majority of attendees at Dragon Con probably just, either threw this card away or forgot about it or gave it to somebody else or something like that, or it's just like collecting dust somewhere because they don't play Magic. They never played Magic. They just received this card. So, just for a long time, this is one of those cards like Oswan Jaguar from Chandalar or whatever, the Windows DOS Magic game. For a long time, that was a card that was never printed. Still, I don't know if it's been printed now. I feel like it hasn't. Oswan Jaguar. Okay, so it was in Microprose promos. Okay, yeah, exactly. So it's only ever printed in the Microprose version of the game. All right, cool. So it's another one like that. But yeah, just a cool little promo from a very, very long time ago. But that said, the card itself is terrible. Okay, it's just not very good. So it was another Dragon in your Dragons decks back in the day, which is one of the reasons people kind of liked it. I guess this is now reprinted in Mystery Booster 2, huh? So Mystery Booster 2 came out not too long ago, this year actually, in 2024 as I record this. And it's only 40 cents to buy. That's crazy. It's cute that it got the Future Sight frame treatment. I like that because it's actually super old. That's neat. This is like a 2.4, I really wish I could do better than that, but I can't. But moving on is Devastating Mastery from Strixhaven. This is an underrated card. 6 mana, 2 and 4 white for a sorcery. You may pay 4 mana just 2 and 2 white, rather than pay the spell's mana cost. If the 4 mana cost was paid, an opponent chooses up to 2 non-land permanents they control and returns them to their owner's hand. Destroy all non-land permanents. So it's understand that this says all non-land permanents on it, which is nuts. This is not just a 6 mana sweep all the creatures. This is a 6 mana sweep every single thing on the table. And I think that is severely, severely underrated. And yeah, if you want to choose somebody to be your buddy, they can put a couple of things back in their hand and just blow everything up. So even at 4 mana, destroy all non-land permanents asterisk is still very good. But I don't think 6 mana is like too much for this card at all. So I'm going to go, look, I'm going to surprise you here. Very likely. I tend to give sweepers a very high score, and this one's no different. But I think it's better than most of the sweepers we've looked at in the series so far. I really do. If you haven't worked this in, maybe do. I mean, I know that not everyone wants to blow up their own non-land permanents, because, you know, enchantments and artifacts are important. But in a deck that can handle doing that, like a 7.7, dude. My throat's dry. Hold on. Sorry, that was probably weird in the mic. I have a cookies and cream yoo-hoo over here from the dollar store. And also, I guess, a treat all the way from the island of Tahiti. If you can believe that. There we go. I had to wet my whistle there. But yeah, 7.7. I really think this card is the real, baby. This card is great. But moving on to Daring Demolition. 4 mana. 2 and 2 black for a sorcery. Destroy a creature or vehicle. This is originally from Aether Revolt. It's bad. It's sorcery speed. It's 4 mana. You won't play it. Let's go with a 2.6. And finally, Shivan Dragon. Sadly, I believe we've hit this card before. But now that I say that, I don't actually... Yeah, we've hit this card before. We have. Sucks. Dwarven Miner from Mirage is our actual last card of the day. This is $1.78 for Mirage. Not even on the reserve list. Just for some reason, it's $1.78. This is illustrated by Jock, all caps, by the way. 2 mana, 1 and a red for a 1/2 dwarf. You can pay 2 and a red and tap it to destroy a non-basic land, which is actually pretty good ability. You get right down to it, it's not that bad. So, kind of expensive activated ability, but whatever. Blow up your Cradle, one of your Urza's lands, blow up your Nykthos. Like, yeah, I can get into it. I'm going to give this... God, just blow up your duel. Just blow up your duel land. Your Volrath Stronghold, or, Vault of the Archangel. There's like 1,000 really good targets for this. Your Kessig Wolf Run. I mean, non-basic lands are really powerful. I'm gonna give this like a 5.2, man. I'm so serial right now, man. This is a kind of a hidden gem, I think. I love Mirage. I've seen this card a bunch of times in my life. I've just never really looked at it. You know what I mean? Like, 3 mana is more mana than it appears to be, because, you're probably only going to be able to do like one other thing that turn, and you're not going to be able to spend all the mana on that other thing. So, like, maybe it's not amazing, but, this taps to destroy a land every single turn. I mean, maybe you're getting buried in, like, value. You know what I mean? Like, you're spending too much of your mana on this, like, piddling stuff. You're not doing enough. And you're becoming the arch enemy because you're just going around blowing up everybody's lands. You know what I mean? So that'll definitely make a target out of you. But I definitely still think this card looks really, really powerful at the end of the day. So, yeah, like a 5.3. And that's me kind of taming my review a little bit. But that is it. Boy, today ran long. I know you guys like it when it runs long, though. I'm not worried. But anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.